Brazil lifts visa requirement for US, Canada, Japan and Australia. If watching a game at Rio de Janeiro's Moroccan Stadium has been on your bucket list since the 2014 FIFA World Cup, you can now do so without adding a trip to the consulate as part of your itinerary. Effective June 17, tourists from the United States, Canada, Japan, and Australia will no longer need a visa to visit. Travelers with a valid passport will be able to explore Brazil for up to 90 days, with the possibility of extending their stay to up to 180 days, though expect a visit to the federal police to get the extension approved. The move was announced in March, ahead of and by Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro to the White House. In a joint news statement released on March 19 by President Donald Trump and President Bolsonaro, the duo announced that along with lifting the requirement, Since the announcement, Brazil has already seen increased travel interest from tourists in those four countries. In March, in the past year, airlines around the world have launched additional routes to various cities in Brazil. In November 2, American Airlines is the leading carrier with routes from the United States to Brazil, with direct flights to São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Brasília, and Manaus. Brazil has implemented a series of changes over the past few years aimed at increasing the number of tourists visiting the country. European visitors have long enjoyed visa-free travel to Brazil, and those from neighboring Latin American countries are able to move freely in and out of Brazil, so long as they can produce an identity card, no passport necessary. During the 2016 Summer Olympics, hosted in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil temporarily scrapped its requirement for travelers from the four countries now exempt from the requirement altogether to bolster tourism around the event. In 2017, the country announced that visitors from the same countries would no longer be required to visit a consulate or embassy to get their visas and could instead apply for the document online for a $40 fee as opposed to the $160 previously mandated. According to the Brazilian Ministry of Tourism, the change to an e-visa resulted in the number of applications received by the department in 2018. Additionally, a conducted by the ministry revealed that 88% of visitors to the 2016 Olympics indicated a desire to return to the country, especially if it continued the visa-free policy.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.